Oh, my goodness. It's only preseason, but I'm hyped. Neil Thought. Jimmy G. Buckets gets buckets. Oh, my goodness. Give me the hot sauce. Neil Thought. Give me the hot sauce.
What are you doing, Dragic? Did you not get the memo? Derrick Rose can go upstairs. Woo!
Let me step back.
Hey, it's time for a brand new episode of Gimme the Hot Sauce. We want to say hello to all the people who are joining us live on the YouTube. We'll be following the chat, see what's going on with the fan base out there. Stacey is back after being in New Orleans and late arrival, isn't it, Stace?
Parlez-vous français? Oui, oui. Les garçons, je t'aime très, très beaucoup. That's what I learned when I was down in New Orleans.
Did you have a good meal while you were down there or not?
You know, I just tried to. I stayed in the hotel, man. It's a short trip. It was we were down there quick. And we left quick, and got left with our tail between our legs. But we lived to fight another day, Mark. Lived to fight another day.
Have you ever paid a visit to the French Quarter while you're down in New Orleans?
Oh yeah. I've been to Mardi Gras. I've done all that. I've been down the French Quarter. Beignets, all the what is it?
Larry Flint's?
No. Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, Whispers going there right away.
Hey.
Timmy Whispers is here.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we went down the rabbit hole. Once again, this might be a record for Timmy Whispers. It was like 20 seconds into the show, he went down the rabbit hole. Thank you, Whispers.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the chat. I've got to get Matt in to get the chat going. I'm seeing the three of us, which we look great. The lighting is fantastic here in the Sriracha Studios. But we're going to get the comments from all the viewers out there, make sure we answer any questions that they might have. And I know a lot of questions have to do with what's going on with our Chicago Bulls right now. They've dropped 5 of the last 6 games, 3 in a row in the last 2, Stacey. You know, you don't want to get blown out, and unfortunately that's what happened the last 2.
Well, I mean, honestly, there was no excuse last night. I mean, you were playing a team that had played the night before against Memphis, a tough physical game. We came in, we had a couple days off, so we should have been fresh. And, you know, in this league, when you play a team on a back-to-back game, you go back to that, you know, the first back-to-back game we had early in the season when Cleveland was here. They were waiting for us. And then, you know, as soon as we stepped on the floor, they ran us out the gym because they knew that we were tired. And that's the advantage of playing a team back-to-back. So, you know, it was really disappointing, you know, last night, team not ready to come out, ready to play and get the energy that they needed to do. You gave New Orleans confidence. You know, they were confident enough to go. You know, their shots were making. Trey Murphy the third was, he looked like Reggie Miller out there.
Fire.
I mean, you know, Zion Williamson doesn't play. That should have been a perk for the Bulls right there. You know, their best player is not out on the floor, but you know, there's no excuses. I mean, you can make all kinds of. We didn't make shots, we didn't do this, but it comes down to, you know, executing and defense. The Bulls' defense right now is non-existent when they need it to be.
Yeah, their defensive rating was in the top 10 in the NBA, but that's dropped off after the last couple of games. And I was looking at some numbers. Right now, the Bulls are 24th in offensive rating. They're 27th in three-point shots made, 28th in three-pointers attempted. And we knew going in that shooting was not going to be the strong suit of this team, especially with Lonzo Ball's sideline. But they've got to find some offense that's not revolving around ISO plays for Zach and DeMar.
Well, you know, the main thing, Mark, and I've been a big component of this all season long. When the Bulls, who's that? That's not me.
That's like a $10,000 fine, I think, if you got
that was our producer Maddie's iPad. Maddie, please turn your iPad down.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. She's not only the producer. The producer made that mistake, guys. I'm sorry about that, America. That was Maddie. Okay. But anyway, before we was really interrupted by the Black Widow, this is Maddie. I wish can we get a camera on Maddie right now? Maddie is looking like a superhero right now. Look at her. She's a second-degree Taekwondo black belt.
She's not smiling. I don't think she's real happy about you calling her out like that. She's
ready.
There you go.
That's Maddie. That's our producer. She's our grade A producer. She does a great job. And she came in today because it's Wakanda Forever Week.
Yeah.
And I'm the Black Panther, so she came in as the Black Widow. Okay. And Tim.
She's taking notes. She's writing down everything you said.
Tim's the white geese. He's a white duck. Okay, that's his superhero name.
It's a new character. In the MC
we just created that. Howard the Duck. That's him. He's Howard the Duck. Yeah. So yeah, you remember that? He was a superhero. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Howard the Duck's a superhero.
Oh, no. Hey, did you work on that Tyson impersonation?
Hey, we had so many people.
I know.
So many people comment on that last week about Tim. He needs to bury that impersonation. It was the worst
I
thing
don't know
I've
what
ever
you're
heard.
talking about, Mark.
Oh,
Wow, we're done. We're done. Man, Mark, Mark, this is what happens when you pull him into a conversation, and then he just comes in, and he just messes the whole conversation.
Sometimes
up.
something's so bad it's good. That might be one of them.
No, that's horrible. It's horrible. So get us back on track, Mark.
Yeah, let's talk more about the Bulls. And obviously they're playing a little bit shorthanded. Kobe White is questionable for the game against Orlando on Friday, and hopefully that's a get-well game because the Magic have not gotten off to a good start this season. I think they have 4 or 5 of their players that are out.
No.
So you got to win this game.
Mark.
Yeah.
It's not a good get-well game, okay? Orlando's a tough team. They play the Bulls really, really well. That's not going to be – on paper, you think, okay, the Bulls should beat them at home.
Yeah.
No, there's too many subplots there. You got Wendell Carter Jr. that wants to take it to the Bulls. He always has great games against the Bulls since he's been traded to Orlando. Jalen Suggs, who had a good game when they beat the Bulls down in Orlando last year, and he pumped his chest up and did all that. This is a young team that just plays the Bulls tough. I mean, Bol had a career high last night, I think, 26 points. He's playing extremely well.
Wagner.
Wagner. I mean, they got a good young team. This is not a game where you just come in and say, well, we're the Bulls, we're going to beat this young team. It's not like that. And with the way the Bulls are playing right now, if you're Orlando and you're the coach of Orlando, you're telling your young players, like, hey, they're on the ropes right now. If you get out there and let's get out there and make them run, let's get out there and make them play defense, attack them in transition, hit the offensive glass. They're getting out rebounded. They're getting giving up so many points in the paint. You got a puncher's chance if you're Orlando.
Yeah, and it's a question, the schedule is just going to keep getting brutally tough. Next week, they've got a home game against Boston. They go to Milwaukee on Wednesday. Then they play an Oklahoma City team who's playing really well right now. There's no easy nights in the NBA, and I think for this team, they've got to find a way to be more consistent because you see those fluctuations. Second quarter, they got the lead against the Pelicans last night because they moved the ball. The second unit was doing a good job of making sure that everybody was touching it. Dragic got everybody involved. You think there might be a situation now where Billy considers putting Dragic and or Javonte Green in the starting lineup?
Listen, America, Bulls Nation. I wasn't for Dragic starting just because you have to keep him on a minutes restriction. Yeah. But they seem to, now that we're not playing a lot of back-to-backs, he seems to be playing some good minutes, off the bench. And it's very clear that when he's in the game, good things happen. I mean, Io has done an excellent job, but he's the future. Right now he's struggling big time the last few games with his shot. Like you can tell his confidence is wavering with the 3-point line where he would just take shots. Last night he passed up on one kind of like he would do last year. I just think that Billy is so hard on these young players, because when you watch them, Casey Johnson had a story about, Billy being hard on Io and challenging Io, or Io accepting the challenge from his coach. A lot of times when you got young players, even though he's mentally tough, sometimes it still gets to a young player, especially when there's turnovers and things are not happening. It's almost like he's taking the blame for other people's mistakes, and that's what he's thinking in his head, even though that's probably not happening, but that's probably what he's thinking when he's out there. I think when you see early in the preseason, he had command of the offense. He was getting to the basket. He was making the right passes to people. Now what you're seeing of late, he's thinking too much. He's gone back to thinking and let me give DeMar the ball. Instead of bringing the ball up, saying, I'm the point guard, get to the floor, get to where you're supposed to be, run the play. Everybody's going back to what the Bulls did last year. Give DeMar the ball and let's move out the way. You can't do that. You're not going to beat these teams. If you remember what happened in the second half last year where they went ISO ball, they struggled in the second half of the season. Where the Bulls are the best and where they're at their top is when the ball is moving and it's popping and you got 6 guys or 7 guys in double figures instead of 2 or 3. It also pops when you got Vooch in the paint. If you watched that game last night, Valanciunas, which I would consider, and I'm not saying Valanciunas is a bad player, okay? But Valanciunas is not a top-tier center.
No, he's middle of the pack center.
So he's a guy that I would say, I could probably name 8 centers that are better than him that I would put in front of him. So I would say he's a third-tier, third-level center. And he kicked Vooch's ass. I mean, seriously. I mean, I think he had 22 points. And do we have a box score, guys, of that game? Pull that box score up real quick. But he had 22, 24 points. Yeah. And they went to him down the stretch in the fourth quarter that kept the Bulls at bay. And he was in the paint, and he shot a couple of threes. He wasn't living at the three-point line, and he doesn't really take a lot of threes. I think he came in, he only hit 5 3-pointers on the season, 5 of 17. So you look at the numbers. Look at
22 and 7.
22 and 7. And a lot of his points came in the paint. That's where Vooch has to be. Vooch has got to get in the paint. Early in the season, Mark, he was in the paint almost on a regular basis, and it made a big difference in the way this team played. When he's out there floating around the perimeter and he's out there, setting screens and then popping back for the three-point line and not taking advantage of the switches, and then his teammates not recognizing that there's a switch, there's a problem. And that's where the coaching staff is going to have to start employing that, hey, look, if we're going to set a high pick and roll, then you set that screen and you dive to the basket, and we're going to get you the ball. And it's up to the guards, DeMar, Zach, Ayo, whoever's got the ball, to get that ball inside and force a double team. And then when you get double team, you kick the ball out to shooters. Get spotted up and get ready to shoot the ball.
Well, the fan base is up in arms. You see comments on Twitter, fire the coach, trade all the players. Do you still think that this Bulls team can get it together and make a strong run as we go forward?
Here's the thing, and I said this last night in the broadcast. The good thing for the Bulls, is that every top team that was in the playoffs are struggling. Philadelphia is struggling. Do we have the records for the Eastern Conference? Let's get that.
Yeah, Miami
is struggling. You got, Brooklyn is struggling. There's a lot of good teams. Golden State is struggling. So there's a lot of good teams right now in the first 14 to 20 games that are struggling right now.
Yeah,
the Bulls
Golden
are
State
one
lost
of them.
again last night.
Look at the records. Look at the records. You look at the Eastern Conference. Boston is still Boston. Toronto is a surprise team, but there are 2 games over 500. New York is 1 game over 500. Philadelphia is 500.
Cavs have lost 5 in a row after their great start.
So the good teams are struggling. They're struggling right now. So the Bulls are not the only ones. And so the key for all these teams is to find out what is the problem, figure it out, and let's turn this thing around. The Bulls can't worry about what everybody else is doing.
Right.
We can't, you know what? Well, Philadelphia is struggling too. They can't think that way. You got to think how can we get out of this rut? How can we turn this around? Because Lonzo Ball ain't walking through that door anytime soon.
No, unfortunately.
We don't even know when he's coming back. So if we're all sitting back going, we're waiting for Lonzo Ball to come back and then we're going to have a new season, no, that's not happening. So you got to play with the guys you have here. You got to, number one, it starts defensively and it starts about mental toughness. Those 2 things, defensively and mental toughness, you have to have if they want to turn this around.
Hey, when it comes to insurance for your auto, home, and business, make sure you contact the king of insurance, our good friend, nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. You can reach him at jeffvuk.com. That's jeffvuk.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see all his information on the screen. And Stacey, you got a message for the viewers.
I'm passing this over to Tim.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
Why don't you sing it like Tyson?
We've tried this.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Or no, Christopher Walken. Do Christopher Walken.
Yeah, that'd be better.
Sing it by Chris,
geez.
like Christopher.
Nationwide is on your side.
That was good. I like that. That was good.
Just like
That'll
whispers.
never happen again. Okay.
See, every time you pass that ball, see what happens?
But I sometimes I got to give an assist because
That's right.
like the golden pipes are a little rusty right now. I'm still battling a cold, America. So sometimes I have to pass the ball. I'm not going to be selfish and get the shot up. I'm going to pass the ball over to my man Whispers. He did a
Next
good
week
job.
it'll be Tyson. Let's go with that.
No. I will tackle you if you do Mike Tyson. No.
Hey, it's an interesting week around the NBA. A couple of outstanding individual performances on Sunday. Did you see the stat line for Joel Embiid? He had 59 points, which was a career high, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, and 7 block shots. Some people were calling it one of the greatest statistical games of the modern era.
I wouldn't say all that. I mean,
Well,
did people remember Will Chamberlain?
No, I'm talking about, since 2000.
Olajuwon's, David Robinson's. I mean, there's been some really big-time performances. But it's a great performance. I'm not going to – hey, listen, Joel Embiid, when he decides to play, same thing with Joker. Those 2 guys are the top 2 bigs in the league, okay? And everybody else is after them,
right?
Okay? They do so much for their teams to win, okay? Embiid scores inside, shoots threes, he blocks, he rebounds. he recognizes when he has smaller guys on him, he goes and takes advantage of them. Okay,
and he's lifting up that team, which he needs to do right now because James Harden is out. He's sidelined for about a month.
And that's what you have to do when you're a superstar player. If one superstar player is out, then it's up to another superstar player to try to do the best he can to bring it up. Unlike some guys that are complaining, in Brooklyn, like how can I win?
Oh, that was awful, wasn't it?
How can I win with this lineup?
He says no disrespect.
Yeah,
Whenever anybody ever says that, that means there's plenty of disrespect about to come.
How are you going to win with Nick Claxton and Joel Harris and whoever else is in that lineup? Yeah. And those guys probably in the locker room when he was saying that, like,
right.
Damn, dude, really?
Just dumped all over us.
You just going to say this like we're sitting right here next to you? Like Joel Harris is probably right next to him. Yeah. And I would have been like, whoa, that's like Michael Jordan said, like, how do you expect me to win a championship with these guys?
Yeah, that was cold. But I think it's not long until Durant makes another trade request. Kyrie Irving is supposed to return Sunday from his suspension to play against the Memphis Grizzlies. But, with Kyrie in the lineup, they're the worst defensive team in the NBA. It's not like Kyrie can score, certainly, but he's not the cure for everything that ails Brooklyn. No, he's not. And then you got Ben Simmons that's struggling, mentally, so that just hurts them too. Seth Curry's in and out of the lineup. He's playing, he's hurt. That also hurts. Joel Harris is starting to get back into form a little bit. They've got a lot of holes that they've got to fill. Matter of fact, they've been playing much better without Kyrie. And I think that shows a little bit that the distraction is not there. Yeah. Now, when you bring him back, that distraction is going to be there. Fans are going to be on him, when he goes to arenas. How are some of these players going to respond to that? Since they've been playing pretty much free that he hasn't been there, how's that going to work with the rest of the team when they play in front of a hostile crowd? Will they go back to reverting back to scared to take shots or whatever? But in this league, Mark, as you know, if you don't defend, you got no shot. You got no shot because in this league now it's so wide open. 3-point shots are, is the main thing in this league. And we saw it last night in New Orleans. You got a guy like Trey Murphy, okay? Now, after he hit the first two from Baton Rouge, you should know that his range is unlimited. And whoever is guarding him, you should not leave him. You have to stay connected to 3-point shooters. And we got guys last night are, running away from him, trying to rotate. You can't rotate off a shooter, especially when they came down the floor 3 or 4 times looking for him. They really swung the ball from one side to the other, knowing that he was going to be open, and they attacked that. And so the Bulls never recovered. You can't leave 3-point shooters. And as long as there's 3-point shooters in this game where teams that shoot 30, 35 3-point shots a night, and they can make half of them, you're in trouble. Speaking of great stat lines, a friend of the program, Darius Garland, had 51 for the Cavaliers on Sunday. He had 10 from three-point land, and he had been battling some injuries earlier in the season, but he's all the way back. And this is one of the great young guards in the NBA. Darius Garland, teaming up with Donovan Mitchell, gives them a pretty potent 1-2 punch, and his future is off the charts. Yeah,
he's a great young guard. Unfortunately, Cleveland has struggled a little bit. They've kind of they hit a wall a little bit, but they got a dynamic backcourt. And this kid was an all-star. His second year in the league, he's an all-star. We had him. He's a friend of the program. We had him on the show. Really, really good kid. I played with his dad, Winnie Garland, in Minnesota. And kid's been around the NBA game for a while, and he knows how to play. And right now, it's just like any of these teams right now. It's like, the schedule sometimes favors certain teams over other teams. Yeah. We were talking about the Bulls schedule, last night in New Orleans, and like how many back-to-back games the Bulls have compared to Milwaukee or the Lakers. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about the Lakers and
forget about the Lakers.
Yeah, you know what? But the way they're treated, they're treated like NBA royalty. They suck for 3 years now after they won the bubble championship, which I don't really consider a championship. That's like winning the YMCA Men's League championship. I mean, it's championship, but I don't consider it a championship. I don't think they win the championship if they're playing a normal playoff type of series where they got to go play in, whoever they played in the playoffs, they got to go play home and away games. I don't know if they win those. But at the same time, they won. So, respect to that. They won. But now they haven't been the same outside the bubble.
Yeah. Anthony Davis finally was healthy, had a big statistical game the other day, but they're 3-10 right now, really taking on water. Another good young guard that we'll see next week, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. His last 3 games, 37, 37, and 42. How about that step back he hit to beat the Wizards? That was pretty impressive.
Listen, this kid has been one of the hottest players in the league right now. I'm talking about fish grease hot. I mean, there's 6 or 7 games where he's had 30 or more. So this is a young team that I think everybody just thought was just going to be the whipping team for everybody to come in because they have so much, inexperience there. Him and Josh Giddey work well together because, defensively he can guard, smaller guys, and then offensively he can be a 2. Giddey could be the 1. Giddey's kind of a poor man's LaMelo Ball.
Right.
Doesn't have the flash LaMelo has, but very similar playing styles. So when you look at those, Oklahoma City, they got some really good young talent, man. Unfortunately, just like they've always been, they're the farm system. They got a farm system.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. But they are basically preparing these kids to go somewhere else. They're not going to be able to pay some of these kids, and then that's the sad part because Oklahoma City is an awesome place to play. The fan base is unbelievable, and those fans deserve a team that can compete for a title, year in and year out. But they just don't have the market to pay all these kids what they're going to be worth in a few years.
Yeah, they had Chet Holmgren as the 2nd pick overall, but he suffered a foot injury playing in a Pro-Am game, and he's going to miss the entire season. So now the thought is maybe they get the number 1 pick and bring in Victor Wembanyama to team up with Chet Holmgren. Then you got something going, right?
Ooh, man, that would be
with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the backcourt.
Yeah, that would be a nasty little young lineup. You got 2 7-footers that can put the ball on the floor. They can attack it, like having 2 Giannis's out there on the floor at the same time because they're both like unicorns. They both can do so many different things with the ball. They're not post up guys, but Victor can post up, but he's still got to grow into his body. But you got some very athletic bigs if they are able to get the number 1 pick. Very athletic bigs, and then a very versatile team defensively. They can switch out and, rim protection from both those kids. Both those kids who block shots.
So if you're at home with family the day after Thanksgiving, make sure you tune into the Bulls-Oklahoma City game. Your boy's been pulled off the bench to call play-by-play that day with Stacey King, so I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to take a flight down to Oklahoma City Thanksgiving night.
All right.
So where's Adam? Is he doing an NFL game or?
I think he's doing an NFL game. That's the only time he misses.
Yeah.
So I got the call that Mark is going to step out of the bullpen. So this will be Mark's,
looking forward to it.
This will be Mark's 4th time doing Bulls game, which is awesome. As you know, America. Mark is just not a he's just not a TV personality. Okay, Mark is now doing the Windy City Bulls. He's the play-by-play voice for the Windy City Bulls. He's really doing a good job down there, and now he's coming up to the big leagues. We called him up from the G League, and he's not a G League talent, ladies and gentlemen. He's an NBA talent. So we're bringing him up, and so I'm looking forward to working with Mark again.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Tim, what do you got to say on that? I know you got something to say.
Well, there was that Twitter poll about Mark being a DILF again, which is cool. I just wanted to see Mark's reaction. Did you see that? He's like, yes. Yes, I knew it.
Is that like being one of the top 10 sexiest men in Montana?
Hey, you're no longer 17 is the point.
Hey, listen, America.
Yeah, I moved up in the rankings.
He moved up in the rankings.
On the Twitter polls, that's what I'm saying.
America, I just want to throw out there, too, as I was the one that voted as the most sexiest man in Montana.
That's right.
I'm also on People Magazine, page 37. I'm on page 37.
Selling a grill.
Yeah, selling a grill.
There you go.
The new Stacey King smoker.
Oh my God!
Now he's the 10 sexiest men alive, not just currently.
Yeah, look at that, America. Look at that. They caught me waking up. There. That's not a good picture of me right now. But somebody was in my house and they took that picture. I don't know who did it, but it ended up on the Montana Magazine right there with Brad Pitt and Denzel Washington. But I'm in People. Okay, I think Chris Evans he beat me out this year. And so I'm on page 34 on the People as one of the upcoming faces.
You're talking about the Brad Pitt down at the Chevron in Bozeman?
Oh, my God. You know what? Where's my dog collar so I can shock this dude, man? Just shocking around his neck.
Hey.
Oh, my God.
Hey, you better be careful. Our next guest knows how to handle his hands, coming up.
Hey.
Mr. Kermit Washington is in the
right.
Sriracha waiting room.
Kerm.
Be careful with what kind of question you ask Mr. Washington.
I just know not to run up on him.
That lesson has been learned.
Don't
by
sneak
Rudy
up on
T.
Kerm. Don't sneak up on Kerm.
You can see it through the side eye.
Hey, when you come in the room, make sure you acknowledge. How you doing, Mr. Washington?
A very fascinating interview is coming up next, but first, we're going to bring Christopher Walken back to tell folks how they can get some great hot sauce for the holidays, because everybody's looking for that special holiday gift to give their favorite people.
I love the holidays, Mark. I mean, it's the gift-giving season. It's fantastic. So if you're looking for a great gift, some hot sauce to get your game spiced up, well, look no further than right here with Chicago Fire, 1871, the hottest of the bunch. That's going to be a hot seller. It was not available last year. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, well,
Does it come in the box set? Do you get the Chicago Fire?
That's what we recommend is the box set. And then order some T-shirts, too, to really, show you support.
And Whispers is back there wrapping them all up for Christmas?
I don't even like that guy.
He's a packer. He's a hot sauce packer.
He's a hot sauce packer.
I mean, I don't know if you guys heard last week that pathetic impersonation. I mean, mine's better than that.
Christopher Walken doing Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
That's an interesting combination.
Sounds a little bit like this. It's kind of weird, but I think it's better than, that idiot who whispers.
Just like Whispers.
Oh, my goodness.
So stop by GimmeTheHotSauce.com and use the code KING21 to get 21% off your order. That's right. It's a great time to buy some gifts and get them early because we run out.
Give me the hot sauce.
There you go. Christopher Walken with a hard sell. Make sure you go to GimmeTheHotSauce.com and place your order to make sure that you get your product in for the holidays. You can put them in great stocking stuffers. Give it to your special someone. They would love it. Kermit Washington in the Sriracha waiting room. That's next on this episode. Brand new episode of Gimme the Hot Sauce. We're back. Episode 107 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. Now we welcome in a very special guest for our older listeners and viewers. They probably saw this guy play. Kermit Washington was one of the most fierce power forwards on the NBA hardwood during the 70s and early 80s. And, of course, he's most remembered for the incident with Rudy Tomjanovich. And, Kermit, welcome into the show. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I know that people can really catch up on what's going on in your life. You've got a book out, 2020, The Kermit Washington Story. Maybe you can tell folks about what you wanted to get across in the book.
Well, first of all, as you know, I was incarcerated for 4 years. And before that, I did a book on different things of my life because most people only remember me for the Rudy Tomjanovich situation. And it's very nice what you said, but I was just an average NBA player. At least I can say I was a starter on 5 different teams. And that's, I tell people I was a C+ player playing against A+ players every night because they always put me on the toughest offensive player, 3, 4, or the 5 player. And so, I mean, I love playing. I love competing. I love sports. And so the book was about my life, but it's a story, but it's a long, long story. My brother, my mother, and myself, we were homeless. With Salvation Army, various relatives we lived with. We were taken away from my mother because she was paranoid schizophrenic. And we were given to a great grandmother born in 1886. Wow. And she could neither read or write, tell time or anything. So we were with her until the age of probably 12. And so I try to tell people that back then in DC, it was just a different world. I mean, it was segregated. Blacks did not go to school with whites. Blacks at certain times sat on the back of the bus. Bathrooms were white and for blacks. Water fountains for whites and blacks. Movie theaters were for white and blacks. So it was a different world. And growing up, you never really believed that you could accomplish anything except for our role models were people in sports or in music. And that's where I said, oh, I want to be an athlete. So I want to be successful. So my brother and I, we love sports. In high school, I was a three-letter man. I played anything. If it got me out of classes, I took it and I played. So Just want you to know that. And I didn't play basketball till my senior year in high school because my best friend was a star on the basketball team in Washington, D.C., and I played football. So when the football season was over my senior year, I didn't really have anything to do. And he says, well, my friend was one of the very few people that had a car in high school. Out of 1,500 people, you might have had 3 cars. And he says, I'll give you a ride to school and a ride home if you go out for the basketball team with me. Just be on the team. I said, okay, I'll go out for the basketball team. I really wasn't that good. I was 6'4", about 160 pounds. And I didn't expect to play. Now, honestly, I didn't even want to play. I just wanted to ride to school and a ride home and be with my friend. And his name was Glenn Price. He played for St. Bonaventure, 6'9", averaged 30 points a game in high school. So I said, this is fine. But then you had a couple of the guys get kicked off the team because of grades. So sometimes I would get in the games. And people don't realize that. You read these stories about me. I would only get in the games when somebody got in foul trouble. And a lot of games I never even got in. But the problem is I embarrassed myself when I got in. And because I had been a good football player and in other sports pretty good, I was embarrassed. I said, I'm going to start practicing just to be better on the playground. So here's a stupid thing. I got a book trying to improve by reading a book. and Spence Haywood was an article about Spence Haywood. And Spence Haywood was probably one of the best players in 1969, 1968. He was on the Olympic team. So I read an article about him. He had a weight vest. And he said he would jump rope with his weight vest and run with his weight vest. I said, oh, okay. Then I had another friend in D.C. named Adrian Dantley, who was one of the better high school players, and James Brown, who you see on football now. He's a football anchor person. He was a great basketball player at DeMatha High School. And I read that they would jump rope. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put these two things together, jumping rope with a weight vest, and try to improve to be a better playground player. That's it. Just on the playground, because I lived in D.C., 2 blocks away from the most famous playground, Monday through Thursday. And I started jumping rope. I jumped 100 times. In the next week, 200. I doubled it, and I got up to jumping 10,000 times every night with a 20-pound weight vest. And I improved so fast, so much, in just jumping and being a better athlete. So that's the beginning of my basketball career. But in high school, a lot of games I never even got in. So Stacey, you got other questions?
Well, one of the things, you talked about your stint in the prison. And, a lot of people didn't know that. I mean, you're known for the Rudy Tom Donovich thing, but you've been very open about your experiences, but going to prison and things that you've learned and how it's kind of changed your life and made you see things in a different light. So let our listeners know a little bit about your experience, because, it's very rare you see NBA players, who are playing the league as long as you have, experienced those kind of situations. So talk a little bit about that and how it's changed your life.
Well, here's the thing. It should be, everything I tell you guys is 100% truth. Prison didn't change me at all. And first of all, I shouldn't have been there in the first place. The reason you can get back to basketball, but toward the end of my basketball career, I knew that my body was giving out. So my last year, I was going out for the last year with the Portland Trailblazers. I said to the owner, if I make the team, if my body can make it, I want to start a charity with all of my salary, every penny of it, because I was doing well financially. And the people of Portland, if you know, the fans of Portland are like fanatical, religious.
Good fans.
They're religious. So I said, we'll start a charity if I can make it, and all my salary will go to the new charity, 6-Man Foundation. Well, my body gave out and I couldn't make it. So what I did is, during the summer, I organized a summer all-star game. So all the NBA players that I knew, I called so many of them and said, will you come to Portland and play? Well, we had Dominique, we had, let me see, we had Larry Nance, we had Stockton, Karl Malone, we had so many of the guys, and all the Trailblazers played. So we were able to raise as much money from that game than I would have made if I had to make the team. So that was the start of a charity called Six Man Foundation. And first thing you have to realize, when I was in college, I graduated almost like 3.7. I got postgraduate scholarships. I was academic All-American my junior and senior year, almost a straight A student. My first 2 years, I was like a B student. But because I grew up in the inner city, I didn't have the foundation to be able to be that good of a student right away. But I was studying in college maybe 4 or 5 hours every single night. And my teammates would say, "Where are we? Know where Kermit is. He's studying, or he's lifting weights, or he's jumping rope." I mean, that was me. I was going to succeed no matter what. My brother played pro football. We both grew up with nothing, but we both had an attitude is either we're going to make it or we're going to die trying. We didn't care. I mean, life was not very pleasant growing up. So our mindset was we're either going to make it if we have to jump rope 10,000 times, 100,000 times, which I never did, and with him lifting weights or playing. So when I got into college, I studied. I would sit down and study 4 or 5 hours every single night. But then I would run the stairs and jump rope every single night. Then I would go lift weights, and then I would go to classes and go to basketball. But if you got to understand, my mentality was, it was during the Vietnam War, and I was against the Vietnam War. I'm always there to help people. I want to be there to do something positive with my life. So after graduating from college, before I said, I'll go into the Peace Corps. But then I got to be so good in basketball so quickly, I said, well, I can make some money playing basketball. But I started that charity up in Portland, and it was for the public, the Portland Trailblazer people, because they were so good to us as Blazers. I mean, you couldn't go into a restaurant and pay. They were going to pay for you. Everything was like that. So the charity was 1985, the charity started. And Phil Knight, who is, he was the founder of Nike, became a friend of mine through David Halberstein, because David Halberstein, he was the author who wrote the breaks of the game, the best and the brightest for Kennedy's and stuff like that. We became friends when he was writing the book. And so I went out to dinner with him and Phil Knight. And so Phil Knight would support the charity with the inner city kids. Any inner city kid that got the honor roll would get a new pair of Nikes. Now, as that charity grew, and we kept raising money. The situation in Rwanda, and this is the reason why I ended up in prison. So I want you guys to listen very carefully. The situation in Rwanda, where 1 million people were slaughtered. So my daughter saw it on the news and she says, "Hey, Dad, you got to do something about that." I said, "Dana, what do you want me to do? I've never even heard of the country of Rwanda. And in Africa, they don't use the R word, it's Wanda." I said, "Okay, I'll donate some money, Dana." That's my daughter's name, Dana. "I'll donate some money and we'll go from there." Well, I called up all these different organizations to donate money, and most of them had recordings. But I got to one, which was Northwest Medical Teams. And they said, "Well, Kermit, we thank you for the money, but if you could go with us, you would help us raise more money." I said, "Go to Africa? I've never been to Africa. I've never heard of the city of Rwanda, no, country of Rwanda. And you have almost 500,000 people being slaughtered, and you want me to go?" I said, "Well, let me think about it for the weekend." And my daughter was saying, "Oh, you better go." I said, "Dana, you're trying to get me killed. I know you're trying to get me killed." But I decided at the end of the weekend, I called the guy and said, "I'll go to Rwanda with the doctors and nurses and do what I can do." Now, I was scared. Now, most of the time, I'm not a nervous person. But going to a country with all these people, the war torn, what's going on, it was the Hutus against the Tutsis, like two political groups fighting with each other. So I go with these doctors and nurses, and we fly to London, from London to Nairobi, Kenya, from Nairobi, Kenya to Entebbe, Uganda, from Entebbe, Uganda to Goma, Zaire, which is right next to Rwanda. And I'm with doctors and nurses, and we worked there for a week. There are dead bodies. People, the only thing people had there was no bathrooms, no water, no food, no shelter. It was awful. I mean, it's like a living hell. And that's when I decided, with the charity, I said, I can come back and help these people. So the charity became the Six Man Foundation. And got to make it kind of short for you guys. So I know your show is not that long. And I went 35 times, and I paid for doctors and nurses to go over with me to do free clinics. I built a clinic, started a school. We helped maybe 100-some thousand people every single year, fed them, started businesses. Now, all of a sudden, Billy Hunter, who was the director of the Players Association, which is a union, he says, Kermit, I'm going to come over there with some players, and we're going to see what we can do, which was a blessing. Because when I had just built the clinic, the NBA and NBA players brought over $50,000 worth of medicine to start the clinic, which was a miracle. Because most of those people in Africa where I was working have never been to a doctor. So we had a clinic, starting the clinic, and the guys that went over there were, let me see, shoes. I went mind block. You had, I'll think of the names. There were like 4 or 5 players. 4 or 5 players went with me, and they went over there and did a tremendous job. You had, let me think of them as we go on. But the charity was 25 years old. And then what happened, like Kobe and Magic, Michael, all the stars would give me signed autographed shoes. And I would give them to a guy, and he would put them on eBay and sell them and help raise money, because it was very expensive taking the doctors and nurses, buying medicine and everything else like that. So because I was the founder of the foundation and the CEO of the foundation, the guy that was selling everything, he comes to me maybe a year or two before all this mess started, and he says, well, can I sell some of my own stuff on the website? I said, yeah, you can sell, because you're doing a great job selling the shoes and the jerseys and everything else that we're getting. Well, I said, but now if you sell something, you got to donate money to the charity. You just can't take advantage of eBay, because they're giving you a discount because of you being a 501c3, which is a charitable organization. Well, unbeknownst to me, he started selling counterfeit software from China.
Oh, wow.
I knew nothing about it. Then all of a sudden, the feds come to me, want to interview me. And I didn't know what they were talking about. I said, okay. They said, you from your charity, you have counterfeit software from China that is being sold on your website, your eBay website. Well, I said, I don't know anything about it. I said, because the guy sells the stuff and I give him 20%, and he gives me the money for paying for the doctors and the nurses and the medicine and the clinic, everything being built. Well, they didn't believe that. So wow. I had never been involved with the police in my life. People used to always call me good living. I've never drank any alcohol in my life, ever. I've never smoked anything in my life. I've never did any drugs in my life. I've never used bad language in my life. I am not that much of a religious person, but that's just who I am. So when they come after me saying I did this, this, and that, I said, oh, they'll find out that I had nothing to do with this counterfeit software. Well, all of a sudden I'm on ESPN that Kermit Washington is involved in this counterfeit software of millions of dollars. And I look at it and I say, I don't even know what they're talking about. It's like, and I tell people, it's like somebody said, Kermit, why did you leave your shoes on the moon? I said, leave my shoes on the moon. I don't even know what you're talking about. But what they did, they got the guy who did it, but all of a sudden he says, well, Kermit was involved. I said, oh, I don't even know what they're talking about. So they want me to take a polygraph test. Well, I take a polygraph test. You can see it on YouTube, Kermit Washington polygraph test. Well, I passed all the questions. I passed all of them. They say, well, you're using that money, charitable money, for your own good. Well, the question from the polygraph test, the person that was giving it, proves that Kermit Washington put about $300,000 of his own money into the charity. I passed that. And you talked about the book. In the book, it talks about the charity. And the feds were saying to me, and I hope this doesn't get me in trouble, but they were saying to me, everything in that book is not true. Well, if you look at the polygraph test, it proves that everything that I say in the book is truthful. But one thing I realized, though, is that in a situation, the charity was 35 years old. And I had receipts. From probably 10 years. But if I had kept receipts for 35 years as the charity was 35 years old, I probably would have been exonerated. But I don't keep stuff that long. Yeah. And the doctors and the nurses that went with me to Africa, and probably 35 of them went over a period of 20 years. And they went for free. I paid for everything for them. The room, room and board. And if they wanted, I would pay for them to stay in Europe going back on my dime. Well, it proved that, the polygraph proved that, Kermit spent all that money on his own. Kermit's not telling us, knew nothing about the counterfeit software. But because I was already on TV, these people just believed that Kermit was involved. But the reason I didn't go to trial is because they went after another person that was completely innocent. Okay, completely innocent. And I said to them, if you let that person go with a little slap on the wrist, I'll do a plea agreement. Now, Stacey and you guys, I'm 71 years old. I've lived a great life. I really am proud of what I've done. We all have made little mistakes here and there, but working in Africa for 24 years, building a clinic, a school, helping 100,000 people a year in Africa, that was my goal. After basketball, as you know, Stacey, sometimes we're lost. We don't have an identity. Yep. Because when you play ball, every day you know what you have to do to get ready for a game, or you have to prepare. But after you stop playing ball, I owned a restaurant. I coached at Stanford as assistant coach. I coached in the G League. I coached in China. But I'm not, I realized I am not a good coach in a sense. I can really be good for one-on-one, but I'm not a yeller and a screamer. And I want people around me that are willing to work, like I was willing to do whatever it took to be successful. So came to the point where I said, I'll take a plea agreement. So they put me in for 4 years. I tell you.
Wow. That's a heck of a plea agreement.
What a deal.
But but you know what, though? If the person that they would have put in who was innocent, it was a lady who was 70 years old who was just keeping the books, did nothing wrong, would have died in there, would have died in prison. I guarantee you would have died in prison because you have to be, I knew I could make it in prison. It's not a pleasant place, but the guys, they respected me. Because one thing about prison, when you go to prison, they know you. They get their relatives to look you up. They know everything about you when you walk in there. But let me say this, when you go to prison, you better be tough. You better mind your own business. And you better know where you should be. You don't make mistakes. Now, Stacey, as big as you are, you be okay.
Yeah, and I'm good with my knuckle game too, Kerm. I'm gonna throw that out there.
You would be okay. But here's the thing. One thing I learned about prison, there are a lot of real bad people there, but there's some good people there too that made certain mistakes. And but there's a racial divide. Whites are with whites, blacks are with blacks, Hispanics are with, there's two groups of Hispanics, the homies and the Pisces. And then you have the Asians, and they stay apart from each other. And you don't want to get on the wrong side. Really, the Hispanics. Lord have mercy. Hey,
Kerm. Let's redirect the conversation a little bit. Obviously, people remember you from our audience from the Rudy Tomjanovich thing, and And, obviously that was something that could have happened to anyone. A wild scramble on the court, someone comes running towards you, you're just reacting to defend yourself. And it obviously impacted your ability to continue your career in the NBA. It probably impacted you in trying to find different jobs after your playing career ended. How much has that followed you in your life, and how much do you regret that whole incident with Rudy?
Well, here's the thing. I don't regret it at all. And I'm going to explain to you why I don't regret it. Well, first of all, a year before, we were playing the Buffalo Braves. And with the Buffalo Braves, I got in an altercation with John Shoemate, and 3 of his teammates jumped me. So I had 4 guys that had jumped me in Buffalo, and none of my Laker teammates helped me. So they ran at me, and they were running at me, and they were hitting me. Okay. So after the altercation with John Shoemate, it was Fred Foster, Don Adams, and I think Emmett Bryant. They just jumped me. So I'm fighting all 3 guys in Buffalo. So when people run at me, and you grew up in the inner city of Washington, D.C., or Chicago, wherever you grew up, if people are running at you, well, you're either in trouble or something's up. So when you have people from the suburbs, they'll say, oh, why did you think they're running at you? Well, the situation with Rudy and I are good friends now. And I told Rudy, I said, I apologize, but it was Kevin Coonert who elbows me in the face and punches me in the face. And I got in an altercation with Kevin Coonert, the 7-foot center. And so as we're in the altercation, Kareem holds on to Kevin as he's going down, and I see Rudy running at me from behind. And what do I think? I mean, what would you think? And so how many people have been injured or police have shot other people by accident because of misidentifying a certain action? So when Rudy went down, I was suspended for 3 months. I had the highest fine in the history of basketball. But before that, what you're saying, how did it impact me? I wanted to be a politician, a senator or a congressman.
Yeah.
Because I just thought that I wanted to help people that kind of way. But one thing after that situation, you find the ugliness in the world. I mean, I was a #1 villain in the world because of the Rudy Tomjanovich fight. And I was suspended, traded. And now, Jack Kent Cooke, who the owner was, didn't want to trade me. But because Kareem had gotten in that altercation with Benson a year before, I think it was just too much to have me and Kareem on the same team. And so that changed everything. So I was traded to Boston, but it wasn't bad because I had known Red Auerbach since 1969. His daughter went to school with us at American University. So my girlfriend was friends with her, and one day she needed a ride home, but we didn't know that she was Red Auerbach's daughter. So we take her home, and there's Red Auerbach. I said, oh my God, your dad is Red Auerbach? And so he walks in the door, and that's the relationship I had with him. And so I knew him ever since I was around 17 years old. So when I got into trouble, he was one of the guys who came and saved me. He said, we want Kermit on the Celtics. And they picked me up, and I played well with the Celtics, like 12 points and 10 rebounds. So I was happy there. So it impacted my life for the rest of my basketball career, yes. But I played better after that incident than before. If you look at the stats. So
I go back a long way with you because you were part of the Pete Newell Big Man Camp, and which is what I feel is one of the best camps ever. Like, you don't see that too much now. You see, guys teaching guard moves, but you guys really took the time. Shaq was there, Danny Manning. I mean, you had all the top stars come there.
Everybody.
And yes. I remember the late great Tex Winter, who was a great friend of Coach Pete Newell. He made all of us go. it didn't hurt that it was in Hawaii too, Kerm. I mean, so that was very. But I remember it was at Loyola Marymount before I went to Hawaii. Yes. But I remember learning so much from you guys, and you were the top tutor there with Coach Pete Newell. You guys had a history together, and I remember going to that camp and learning so much, and then coming back to the Bulls and showing Tex Winter what I learned, and he was just like, he was so ecstatic because he spoke very highly of Coach Newell. What's your relationship with Coach Newell? Let our listeners know that.
Well, you have to realize Pete passed quite a few years ago, but Pete was the general manager of the Lakers, and he's the one that drafted me for the Lakers. I was a 5th player picked in the draft, 1973. But when they picked me, and they were a very good team, they went to the championship that year. He said, Kermit, we don't need you right now. We want you for a few years down the road. I said, oh, no, I'm going to play. Well, they sat me on that bench for 2.5, almost 3 years, waiting for my turn. And I kept going up to Pete Newell, who was the general manager, and I would go up to his office. I said, Pete, we have wonderful coaches, Bill Sharman and another guy, I forgot his name, another assistant coach, but they were guards. Oh, John Barnhill. They were guards. They didn't know how to work with me. But I had read that Pete Newell was such a great coach. I said, Pete, can you work with me to get me off this bench? So, Stacey, like you might understand, I was a center in college. Now, all of a sudden, I'm becoming a forward. Yeah. So instead of your back to the bucket, I'm facing the bucket. And I needed to be taught by somebody who knew how to teach me. And when I finally got Pete Newell to work with me, from that point on, I was a starter in the NBA or a guy playing about 35 minutes a game.
Well, Kermit, we really appreciate you joining us today and telling everybody about your story. They can pick up the book, 2020, The Kermit Washington Story, and get more information. Obviously, people remember the Rudy T incident, but you did so much good going over to Africa and helping people who were in need. So thank you so much for joining us on Gimme the Hot Sauce, and best of luck going forward.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, guys. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Kerm.
So 107 to Give Me the Hot Sauce. We just finished up talking to Kermit Washington, or I should say we finished up listening to Kermit. Kermit had an agenda, and he wanted to get his story out there.
Listen, shout out to Kerm. Yeah. Kerm, I felt like I was in a Baptist church.
There's a lot of stories there.
My grandma's church, boy, we was, woo!
He should have ran for office,
I'm telling you, listen.
Imagine that filibuster.
Kermit has a great story. He has a great story. That Rudy Tomjanovich, man, I tell you what, I mean, he could have killed Rudy Tomjanovich.
Oh, there's no question about that.
And then during that time, Mark, if he would have done that, he might have went to jail for that.
Yeah.
So thank God Rudy Tomjanovich didn't get. He had major surgery, man, and that was during a time where, fighting was allowed basically. And then David Stern changed that rule, saying, "Hey, guys that big can no longer be throwing punches."
And Rudy Tomjanovich was an NBA All-Star, one of the better forwards in the NBA, and obviously his career was severely impacted after that. Of course, he went on to coach the Houston Rockets, won a couple of championships there, and is he in the Hall of Fame? I think he is.
Yeah, I think he is.
I think Rudy T made the Hall of Fame.
Rudy was a player, man.
Yeah.
Rudy, and the thing about that was Rudy wasn't running in there to get into the fight.
He's trying to break.
He was known during that time as a peacemaker. Everybody loved Rudy Tomjanovich, so he was running in there to stop the fighting. And what happened, as Kermit said before, there was stuff that was premeditated earlier in the season with the Houston Rockets. So that was something that happened later in the season. But I tell you what, when you see that punch in real time. Like when you see the speed that Rudy was running into the fight, and then a quick turnaround with the right hand, and it connected at the right spot, the right time. Man, they said Rudy's face like detached from the skull and all kind of stuff.
They were concerned about his life for a while there. If you're on the YouTube feed, you can see the mask that he's wearing.
He had brain fluid leaking.
Yeah,
it was a major injury. And I tell you what, man. Man.
You know what they never talk about though?
What's that?
Did Rudy hurt his hand? Did Kermit hurt his hand?
You see, you try to get a bad line up, and you stumbled all over it. That's playground justice, right?
Yeah, exactly. Playground justice.
Really?
America, this is what we deal with right here. We're over having a serious discussion about a man who almost lost his life with a right cross.
And he's trying to get a cheap joke up.
A cheap joke in there.
It's not a cheap joke.
Inopportune time, as always, Whispers.
I've hurt
That's
my hand.
just Whispers, ladies and
You
gentlemen.
think Tyson hurt his hand when he punched those guys?
No, he had gloves on. I'm talking about when you don't have them on.
But I will say this: what people don't know about Kermit too, because I go way back with Kermit with Pete Newell's Big Man Camp. Kermit was a big dude. Kermit lifted weights. Kermit was like a good 275. I mean, I remember when we were in Hawaii at the Big Man's Camp and we go into the gym to work out and lift weights. Like you didn't want to lift weights around Kermit. You know, Kermit was like on the prison workout. Like he was curling 75-pound dumbbells like it was 25 pounds. And like we're all sitting there like, okay, let's put my weights down. I think I'm just gonna go out and go do some jumping jacks, some calisthenics, some what do you call it, burpees?
Yeah.
On the beach.
So he's not a guy that you joked around about a throat punch with. Right?
No. Kermit's one of the guys, like if I had to go down the alley, Kermit's being with me. I wouldn't be afraid at all.
Hey, speaking of the throwing hands and the masters of the pugilistic art, we had talked about the UFC at 281 last week?
What was it, guys?
Oh, they're scrambling. Anyway, D's got some tape. We made some predictions on what might happen. And let's see how Stacey and Whispers did on their predictions. You got that, D? Yes, sir. All right, let's take a listen to what they said last week.
I'm going to win that one.
And then prayer in 3.
You want to bet?
Let's just write them down now.
Okay, go ahead and write. Get the predictions, guys.
Get our parlays.
Okay, so I got Adesanya winning the fight. He's got Pereira winning. Mm-hmm. Okay, second guy. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going with Wally, the Chinese knockout artist.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm going with her.
That's a no-brainer.
I'm going with Chandler beating Dustin Poirier.
That's only if it's the first round.
I'm going with Chandler.
Only if it can be the first round.
No, it's not going to be the first round.
You think? So what round are you picking?
No, because Poirier's going to. It's going to go the distance. I think it's going to be a war.
I'm going Poirier in 4.
That's a good bet. I'm going with Chandler in that one.
Chandler would have to be a first round.
Okay, Frankie Edgar. This might be Frankie. I think this is Frankie Edgar's last fight in the UFC. They gave him a tomato can, to fight.
He retired once already, right?
Yeah, he retired a couple times.
Yeah.
But he'd never been knocked out. But he got knocked out his last couple times in the thing. Now Dan Hooker. Yeah, I got him
in that. Yeah.
I got him. Hooker. Dan Hooker's a beast. He got beat by
Chandler and Poirier.
Yeah, and Poirier. But he's a beast, man. He's about 6'4". He's really long,
bigger than
athletic.
He is,
He's a lot. He should be probably fighting light heavyweight. Mm-hmm. But he's got a good stand-up game, and I think he's gonna just beat up old Claudio.
All right, now it's time to bring in the receipts. How'd you guys do?
Well, let me just say this, man. Okay, America. As you can see, both me and Tim know our UFC. Okay, we know our UFC. Adesanya, all he had to do was stay in the center of the ring and use distance. He got silly at the end of the fight, started getting caught up on the rope. He was winning the fight unanimously. He was winning the fight. Got up on the rope, let his ego and get involved, and then he got cornered. Because that dude, like Mike Tyson, he got one punch power. And he hit him one time, and you could see his face, like his soul just left, and then it came back, and he hit him again, his soul left permanently. And he lost the last seconds of the last round. And it was so devastating because all he had to do was just stay in the middle of the ring. Most of his success came in the middle of the ring and using distance.
So what do we find for the final results, guys? What do we have? You got those up there?
Oh man.
Who got the most? Who got the most right in their predictions?
Oh man, I think. Well, I lost Edgar. I lost Chandler, and Adesanya. So I think Tim might have beat me.
I did.
Yeah, he might have beat me.
No.
Yeah, he might have beat me. I'll give Tim that. We didn't bet anything though. There was no bets.
Here's that crispy dollar again.
There was no bet.
31
America,
years of abuse.
There's no bet, America. There's no bet.
The usual snap.
I'm gonna give you the dollar bill that gets washed in the washing machine. It's all crusty and all the inks run off of it. It's just a piece of paper.
Some
That's
belly button lint in there.
We got an ad break, according to our producer.
Why don't you tell the folks about Windy City Limousine, Stacey?
Let me see. Hold on. Oh, Lord have mercy. Jeez,
They bring you here today, Mike?
Yes, Mike's always here.
All right.
Mike's here. Shout out to my boy Mike. We were in traffic today in Barrington. I just want to throw that out there. It was terrible.
Barrington traffic.
It was terrible. I don't know where all those rich people were going, but it was terrible. Windy City Limousine provides championship service. Making a reservation is so easy, it's a slam dunk. Let Windy City break the full court pressure of traffic and get you to your destination in style and on time. Contact us at 847-916-9300 or online at windycitylimos.com.
Ask for the special Kermit Washington rate for this week.
Okay, line 1, Kermit Washington there for Mark.
It's called Long-Winded City.
Oh, wow. Okay, you know what? We just lost another guest. He'll never come back. You guys
goodness.
You guys are out of control, man.
Hey, what do you think about Justin Fields? The guy's running wild now. Everybody was down on the guy, and now everybody loves him. They're like, he's the face of the NFL now.
What did I tell you? Everybody just down. They said, he sucks. He's a wasted pick. He's gonna be worse than Trubisky. Blah 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 blah. And I was on this show, and so we've got it documented. Yep. I said, just turn the kid loose. Let him do what he does best. Get him out in the open field. Let him, get out of the pocket, move around because the offensive line is terrible. Let him run. I mean, every day, listen, every game we've seen him have these big runs over the last 3 or 4 weeks. If that was Andy Dalton or anybody, they'd be in the hospital right now. Yeah. Seriously, they would not be able to get past this rush. Some of the moves that he has made to get away from and elude the rushes, like a guy coming from the backside and all of a sudden he spins away from it, and you're like, how did he see that? But it's a tremendous athlete. So now everybody's on the bandwagon. Oh, he's the greatest quarterback. Oh, he's superhuman.
Fantasy star, too, with those running yards.
Oh, he's going to be the greatest quarterback ever. Oh, yeah, shut up. You people are on the bandwagon. Get off the bandwagon.
Yeah, that's been sad to see people flip-flopping.
But they do that. That's America, man. That's life, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark, I'm guilty of that sometimes. Okay, my Sooners get their butts kicked all the time, and I jump from
Georgia,
different teams.
baby.
So America, you're not alone, America. Okay, right. I'm with you.
I feel their pain.
I feel your pain. I flip the script sometimes too.
Stacey bandwagon king.
Come on now. That's taking it too far.
I'm sorry.
That's really gone too far. There could be a throw punch coming to the left, so you just keep on talking.
Wouldn't be the first one.
Keep talking. 31 years of abuse.
Hey, we're deep into episode 107. I think it's time for us to try to improve our sugar level. We're all hurting a little bit, haven't had anything to eat, and we have a very special guest who's going to join us here on episode 107. Her name is Stacey Grimm, and she runs the Cookie Jar. We've got some information. There she is, if you're watching on YouTube.
There she
Hi,
is,
Stacey.
lady.
You got to talk into the microphone.
You got to talk into the
Yeah.
microphone.
So,
get the headset on.
Get the headset on, Stace. She's an amateur.
well, it's her first.
No, she's a karaoke singer. She knows about microphones and headset. Oh Lord. The headset's too big. Our last guest was an Ohio State Buckeye mascot. His head was too big.
It is not. It's way too big.
If you're watching on YouTube, you see some information about Stacey on the screen. Tell us about the Cookie Jar.
Well, I started it 2 years ago. I've been baking for my kids I have 5 kids, so been doing it for years, and everybody would try them, and they're like, you really should do something with this. This is the best cookies I've had. This is the best whatever I've had, the cheesecake that I make. So I started serving it at Barrel and Rye in Geneva, the restaurant I work at, and it's just taken off from there. And so I started my company. I have a website, and moving on to go find a kitchen to work out of and start a storefront.
What's the website for people that might want to get in contact?
www.thecookiejrllc.com.
And do you have special packages ready for the holidays that people come in purchase?
I do. I have pumpkin pie cheesecake, pumpkin cheesecake, cookies.
And I understand that you actually used Stacey's hot sauce.
I did. I used the Chicago Fire and the cheesecake.
Oh, Chicago Fire.
Because people would wonder, why would you use hot sauce and something sweet? Explain how you explain that.
Typically chocolate and chili goes really well together.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, Mark, you didn't know that?
Well, I just know beer goes well with everything.
That's true.
I haven't put beer in the cheesecake
Don't
yet.
do it either, Stacey. Don't listen to these guys.
So, yeah, it adds a little spice.
Stacey, why don't you try the hot sauce cheesecake?
Why you gonna make me do it first?
It's your show. You're the star of the show.
That's my show.
It's your hot
Hey,
sauce.
whose name is on the logo?
Oh, listen, we're a team. Okay.
It's your mom's famous recipe, Lois.
Yeah. Or
Lois's hot sauce.
we could let Snoop try it.
Oh no.
Nothing.
Snoop hasn't said much.
Come on, Tim, get one.
There's a
come on
wrap.
now.
Yeah, make sure you take the wrapper off.
Yeah, the wrapper's not
No.
digestible.
Okay. All right. Okay. America.
Just like whispers.
America, you see it right here. This is a little cheesecake with the Chicago Fire 1871 in it. And if something happens to me, we're suing the cookie jar. Just to throw that
I
out
have
there.
insurance.
Is
It's
my
okay.
lawyer? Hey, Alan Sanders, you ready, boy?
All right, 1, 2, 3.
You're not gonna feel the heat for like a minute,
Okay.
Oh man.
but it tastes good, doesn't it?
Oh my goodness. Oh,
That's really good. That's awesome.
I'm trying to taste the hot sauce.
So for people
it's
that
coming
would
in.
like to try that themselves, how
Yeah.
much hot sauce would you put in
Those are
the batter?
You can't even taste the hot sauce right now.
it'll hit you
No,
at
it
the
comes
end.
up.
But I did like 2 teaspoons,
Okay.
but that's in the whole bit of chocolate, and I
Well,
did.
how many cookies did you make out of that?
Oh, I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it. America,
America, water.
America, I can feel it. It was at the end. Oh my
It is at
goodness.
the end.
Wash it down with a beer.
Oh Lord. Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah.
It's not
That's good.
overpowering.
No, it just adds
Like
a
like
little
if you
heat.
just took a little bit out of the bottle,
Right.
and you burn your mouth.
Yeah.
No, it's really cool because it's sweet, and it gradually you can start to taste a little bit of the fire. Yeah, you can taste it at the end. Yeah, yeah.
Good.
It's the
Try
first
one,
time
Mark.
I've, it's
And
the
she'll
first
like
time
it
I've
too.
tried it.
She'll definitely like it too. So okay, so quick story. So I met her at a basketball game. She was there with friends. Like, you know how people always come down
Yeah,
and get pictures,
yeah.
whatever. So she gave me her card about the cookies. I like chocolate chip cookies, whatever, yada yada. So I said, hey, why don't you make me some chocolate chip cookies? You know, I'll bring them to the game, whatever.
Yeah.
Taste them. And she kept saying her cookies are the best and la la la. And, you know, I hear that all the time. Everything's the best. Everything's the best. So I said, you know what? Let me try them. So she came out and delivered some to me. I took to the game for Adam and
Yeah.
a lot of the guys in the camera. And so during it was the halftime. I gave them all out the cookies, and I said, "Man, try these cookies and be honest. Let me know how they taste." And everybody started eating. Like, oh my god! You got any more? Oh my god! Who made these? Did your wife man? No, there's no wife. There's no wife anymore. America, I'm one of the 10 most sexiest men alive. There is no
Here we
commitment out there. I'm by myself. I'm solo. I'm the hottest free agent on the market. I just want to throw that out there. Okay,
I thought
so
it was in Montana.
listen, you know what? Your comments. I'm not reserved to giving a woman a throat punch, but I would do it. Okay, so
That's why you're a free agent.
So hey, that's uncalled for. Wow!
Yes.
I'm being surrounded by villains. Oh my goodness. So anyway, the cookies were amazing, and so then I reached out to her and I said, hey, why don't you come in? Because I'm big on the small businesses. Giving small businesses opportunity to come on the show. That's something that we like to do here, and give them an opportunity to tell about their business. So she accepted the offer, and I said, you can only come if you bring cookies. And
Oh, yeah.
chocolate chip cookies. You just can't come over and talk about it on the show. You got to bring good. So then she did I'm telling you, that cheesecake is pretty damn good.
It is good.
Well, everybody's looking for special treats for the holidays. So, Stacey, one more time, give us your information on how they can reach out and get some special treats for the
Sure.
holidays.
www.thecookie.llc.com. You can go on my IG or my Facebook page, message me through either of those places, or my phone number is on there as well, and I can take any orders. I'm almost full for Thanksgiving, though.
Oh, really?
You got like a
She
day.
does weddings
You
too.
got like a day.
America, she does weddings too. Special events, bar mitzvahs, whatever you need. She does it all. She will come out and do. Peanut butter cookies. Oh Lord, have mercy.
That was, yeah.
So-
this was a special request right here.
Was
So we're
Special
we're
request.
taking care of your holiday needs, and
Absolutely.
as always, we try to take care of your.
Oh Lord. Oh my goodness.
I was going to ask
sorry,
Stacey to
America.
give a movie review, but let's let him finish the
I'm
cookie.
sorry,
yet.
America.
Put some
America.
hot sauce on there.
No, we're not doing all that. Guys. America. This is a good peanut butter cookie.
There you
Seriously, it tastes.
Tastes like peanut butter.
Well, while Stacey finishes his cookie, I'm not going to wreck the season debut of Yellowstone because you haven't watched it yet. Have you? Have you watched it yet?
No.
All right. The only thing I will say is that that they ended last season where John Dutton's running for governor of Montana. So that's how the new season starts. And power is a wonderful thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
Well, since it's in Montana and I was one of the sexiest men.
Yeah, you, of course,
alive in
were-
Montana. Me
were
and John
contact.
Dutton are about the same character. Okay? Okay, America. It's my turn, boys.
All right.
I mean, my mouth is stuck together with this peanut butter cookie. But I'm okay, America. America! You know
There
what
you
this
go.
means.
Yeah.
Wakanda forever. Okay? I'm telling you right now, it's an awesome movie. Go see it. They did a great job of honoring Chadwick Boseman.
Tugs at the heartstrings, right?
Yes, it does. It does. It starts off. I can't tell you, America. I'm just gonna say this. They did a great job of including him in this movie and then making it a transition from him to the next person and then to the next person. That's all I can tell you. But it was beautifully done. There was two different. The difference this time is that it's kind of like what's going on in society now. You have people that are are looked at differently because of their race and their origin, where they come from. And the movie's the same way.
Yeah.
And so the cool thing about this movie was the colors and the costumes and just the graphics alone. I mean, it just looks like an unbelievable place. Like Wakanda looks like an unbelievable place. But also the underwater kingdom looks awesome too, because it was an Aztec. It's an Aztec thing, where you have the Aztec people. How they tell you how they ended up, going from land dwellers to sea dwellers. And Namor, if you ever watched the comic book, Neymar's a bad dude. I'm just gonna tell you that. If you know anything about Submariner, if you know about comics, which I do, Submariner Namor he's gonna have a movie off on his own. That dude is a bad dude. Woo! That's all I'm gonna tell you, America. Go check it out.
He headbutted somebody in the World Cup, right, Mark?
No, not him, Tim. Oh, Jesus. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna eat a peanut butter cookie.
Yeah.
I'm just
Tim,
maybe
while-
we should give Tim a peanut butter cookie so his mouth will be quiet.
While Stacey enjoys the rest of that peanut butter cookie, tell the folks about Angel Water.
Oh, boy.
I need some of that. Matter of fact, hey, this is
Yeah,
the
that's
first
right.
time. Hey,
Stacey on camera
these
drinking Angel
little
Water.
legs.
Yeah.
If you
I
need to
definitely
wash-
need the water right now,
You need to
brother.
wash down some peanut butter cookies. Call Angel Water. Chicago's best area water. That's why we drink it here at the studios. There's the healthiest around. You know what? Just call for your free test. You heard that right. For free. They will come to your house and give you an assessment like they did at Stacey's while he was asleep.
Wake me up before you go.
Stay hydrated all year long with water you can trust.
Hey.
Angel Water.
Angel Water.
847-382-7800.
This is real. I need Angel Water right now. The peanut butter stabbed my throat right now, America. I'm about ready to get the Heimlich maneuver. It's so thick. Allah. Timmy Whispers likes it thick.
It'll wash it right down.
So, Whispers, had you had the chance to ask the question to Kermit Washington, what would it have been?
Well, it was about his educational history. All got turned around from
Oh, my
giving
God.
report cards to his grandma who couldn't read and write, and she'd sign off on it. Because they just tell
What's
her.
the over-under on how long the answer would have been?
I'm going to go with 60, 70 minutes. But the best part about it, that we didn't get to with his first wife is that she found him intriguing because in his first freshman game at American University, he scored 4 points for the wrong team.
Wow.
An own goal.
The wrong goal.
Wow.
Wow.
He tipped 2 in, so one was obviously on one end, but then they changed quarters, and then it was going the other way, and he tipped it in the wrong basket again. So,
But as Whispers is telling this story, okay, Kermit worked himself into being an All-American college basketball player.
yeah.
oh, amazing!
And being,
yeah.
and
At a
being
small
the fifth,
school in
and
the
being
DC area.
the fifth player selected in the NBA draft, which
Yeah.
is a tremendous honor. He was a one-time NBA All-Star, college All-American, and from a guy who didn't know how to play basketball from high school and having to learn how to play, work his way up, and then making himself into a good player. People are going to look at Kermit Washington and go back and go, well, he's the guy that punched Rudy T.
Right.
But he was a great defensive player. He was a great rebounder. There's things in his career that people don't know that he accomplished. And then also, he's a great humanitarian.
His charitable work is amazing.
It's amazing to go over to Africa to bring medical supplies and food and doing that for years and years, and also donating his own money to the cause. People, like I said, people will look at it and go, oh well, he beat up Rudy Tomjanovich, but they won't look at all the body of work that he's done in his career that makes him an outstanding
It's nice to see at
individual.
age 71 he's not bitter.
No.
No. But in college, he was only a 7th guy to be a 2020 guy too, which is pretty cool.
No.
Yeah, I mean, and you wouldn't know he was 71. Like,
Right.
You would not know
No.
he doesn't look like he's 71. You know, black doesn't crack. I just want to throw that out there. But, you know, but at the same time, I mean, he takes good care of himself. The guy drinks Angel water. Oh, chief, little eggs. We sent him a case, baby. We sent him a case, baby. Oh, Lord.
Well, we want to thank Kermit Washington for joining us. We want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, although I think we have a new show coming up, so we might hit you again before the holiday comes. But if you get a chance, you may not be able to get the cookies for Thanksgiving, but check out Stacey's work at the cookie jar.
You get yours, I'm going to get mine.
Stacey, thanks for coming by to visit with us. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
The cookie jar, America.
Crew can't wait to check out all these the great cookies that you brought with her.
Hey, the chocolate chip cookie is on fire, too. Don't sleep.
There you go.
But the peanut butter cookie. I mean, how many you got here? Like 3?
No, there's a whole box.
Okay, thank God, because no one's going to get these. He's going home with me. Hey, somebody's going to be pulling back a nub. They're trying to get these cookies. Woo!
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Stacey, you got a message for the folks?
I'm choked up right now. Peanut butter cookies.
Yum, yum.
Nom, nom, nom. Drive home safely. Chicago. Beep, beep.
Give me the hot sauce, Bill Buck. Give me the hot sauce.
What are you doing, Dragic? Did you not get the memo? Derrick Rose can go upstairs. Woo!
Let me step back and kiss myself. MVP time. Windy City Assassin does it again.